آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا لتسكنوا إليها وجعل بينكم مودة ورحمة إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You are listening to the Seeking Covering podcast. The wait is finally over. I was just as excited as you guys and literally couldn't wait for this day to come because I've noticed that we all love Sister Fatima. We all enjoy on Facebook funny comments, her funny posts, her videos, and just her warm and childlike personality has really drawn all of us to her. I remember posting this poster for this podcast and how everybody was just ecstatic that Sister Fatima is going to be on this podcast. So Alhamdulillah, it says a lot about her. And I'm personally honored to have her on this show. Besides the funny memes and jokes that Sister Fatima cracks on Facebook, we are aware that Sister Fatima is what you would call a modern matchmaker. She has been helping people navigate one of the most important decisions in their lives, which is marriage, in ways that are rooted in faith, but also um, aware of the challenges of this modern age. So, without no further delays, I would like to welcome Sister Fatima on the show and just thank her before we even start for honoring this invitation. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Fatima. How are you doing?
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for having me. You're giving me a big head with all those praises. Chai. I am doing good, alhamdulillah. And yeah, thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure being here, and it's a pleasure making people smile, considering how much things we're going through in our head, in our homes, at work, etc. To actually put a smile on someone's face, that is something that I don't even like wake up to intend to do. I don't know, it just comes. And yeah, so making someone laugh, if I can do it, then alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, with everything that is going on in the world, in South Africa, we really do need, just to pause and just have a little laugh. And you have been, doing that for us. And we thank you. We are so grateful. Now, Sister Fatima, it's before we jump into this whole conversation of matchmaking and marriage and relationships and divorce, I would just like you to tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Fatima Sab? What inspired you to, start matchmaking? What inspired you to, start all the side businesses that you are currently running? Who is Fatima? Tell us a little bit about your story.
I am Fatima. That's just me. Like, there's nothing fancy about me. I am a village girl. I grew up in Malawi. I can't say I grew up there like completely, but I came here when I was a teenager, when I just reached puberty. Yeah, so I came here a teenager against my own will. You know, parents, when they just decide to send you somewhere because they feel you're going to have a better life there. So yeah, I am currently 27 years old, and what encouraged me to matchmake is basically the fact that we see a lot of young and old people committing a lot of zina. So I was like, if people unable to find their partners because they cannot go out, because not everyone goes out, not everyone has the means to be out in these places where they can find partners. So maybe by me doing matchmaking, we can help some people avoid the zina and become married without them going out. So yeah, and what inspires me to do all those businesses is the fact that my background, I come from a very poor background, if I must say. When I say poor, I mean like, yeah, we grew up really tough. So with all this, I think also seeing my mom, she was such a hustler. She is still such a hustler. You will never see my mom sitting there and asking people for food without her doing it herself. Maybe after she have tried and she didn't make enough, then she will ask people for help. But I feel like I take my inspiration from my mom. She was such a strong woman despite having eight of us. I've never like seen her um I've never seen her lose hope in the provisions of Allah. Like she believed Allah would provide, and she still went and did her things. And one of the things that also inspire me is the fact that she would like sell different variety of things. This side she's making guineas, she will give me to go sell those guineas, and this side she stay at a small restaurant that she had at a time. She'll be selling pap, she'll be selling rice, she'll be selling other. She involved me in those businesses, which made me also become a bit business minded. So I do want to change like the background. I want my kids to come from a home where they didn't have to like you know struggle for certain things to a point where they have to give up certain things for the other one to have it. Like I posted a YouTube a while ago answering questions where someone asked me about my childhood as well, and I was like, oh yeah, for us ladies, education was not much. Like they will prioritize the boys going to school and the girls staying at home because they believe the boys build a home while the girls just get married, and like you can't benefit much from the girls. So it was that background. So yeah, I didn't even like really go school. The typing you see me typing, the English you see me Englishing, it's not from school. It's something that I was just blessed to have.
Subhanallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our mothers, because we are who we are because they were who they were. And, as much as their situations were, difficult and challenging, and in most cases, not situations that we want ourselves to be in, they did and they have and they are contributing so much to who we are becoming and to who we have became. And I'm saying this because we all reaching our 30s, and we are now becoming the mothers, and we are now becoming those aunties that we judged so much. And subhanallah, the more you grow, the more you realize that no, my mom did her best for us, and you just filled with gratitude. So I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses our parents. And when you mentioned that you a girl who was forced to come to South Africa for a better life, and a better future. I myself came to South Africa when I was 8 years old, 7 turning 8 years old, and I remember it was not something that I wanted, but it was something my parents thought was good for me. And just like what your mom did for you, my mother made it her mission to teach me that a woman has to have their own thing going. She made it a thing that I had to be skilled with my hands. She made sure I went to learn how to do hair. She made sure I went to learn how to do makeup, you know, anything that would help me later on, even if I did not go to school. And subhanallah, Sister Fatima, a lot of people speak about how going to school, you need to go to school so that you can make it in life. You need to go to university so that you can make it in life. Some people, subhanallah, are just blessed with just being so skilled naturally and being hardworking, and that skill and that hard work literally pays off. And subhanallah, when I look at you, I'm so 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 proud of you, and I admire you so much, because you looked at your life, and you looked at at your situation, and you said, you know what, it is what it is. I will make the best of it, but I will not just, accept that this is how things should always be. And you took a step to, you know, change the situation for yourself, and now you have your own children. And I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens his doors of barakah, and that he expands whatever it is that you are planning and whatever it is that you are working on, inshallah. Sister Fatima, since we on the question of our childhood and our story, I just want you to just reflect with us on your life. I do this a lot, because I feel like the older we get, you look back at your life, and you look back at your younger self, and you almost laugh at her, because when we were young, we felt like everything was just a big deal, and the world would end if we didn't have this, if we didn't have that. So, Sister Fatima, what would you tell your 19-year-old self, your 20-year-old self, what would you tell your younger self just before they got married? Like, what advice would you give her? Because I feel like there's a lot of youngsters who are looking to get married, and there's these aunties who we're grateful for the advice, but when we listen to the advice that's being given to these young girls, and it's crazy. Honestly, it's crazy, it's unrealistic, and it causes so much damage. So please tell us, what advice would you give your younger self? What would you say to your younger self, before you got married, your younger self before you started your business endeavors, before you had your children, so that the younger girls can hear this and take some lesson from it, and carry it with them in their marriages and so on.
It is very important to have a skill as a girl. So yeah, something that I would tell my 19-year-old self is to finish my Alima course. I was doing an Alima course which I after I got married, I fell pregnant immediately, and then the hormones overcame me and I just got discouraged and I stopped. So I would tell myself finish the Alima course. The reason for this is because it is something you are learning the deen, and you get to carry on by teaching other children, and by teaching them you get to have an income from this, and this is something that no one can take from you because it's in you. You have the certificate of completion, and you can do something with this. Like you said, how your mother made sure to teach you skills. I would also advise young girls to learn skills, whether, like you said, making hair. I had to teach myself how to make hair I think last of last year, when I started seeing that I couldn't afford to go to a salon for my daughter, so I started learning how to do it. Now it is something that I can actually do. I can do cornrows, I can do singles, I avoided learning how to aid hair pieces because I was like, bro, I do not want to start aiding hair pieces because I know how much money it makes, especially in December. And considering that is haram, I decided, you know what? If a person comes to me and say, Fatima, plait my hair, my sister, plait my hair, I'm going to give you 1K. You know, December, how it is. They are desperate to make their hair to go around. And someone comes to me and tell me, Fatima, make my hair. I'll pay you 1,000. You think I'm going to say because it's haram? You think I'm going to say no because it's haram? The weakness in me, knowing fully well that I'm struggling to get a hold of that money. Now someone's coming to me and is telling me, Fatima, make my hair, I'll give you 1,000. Wallahi, I will do it and repent later. Like, I would do it. So I decided, you know what, Fatima, just do cornrows, just do normal singles. Don't learn how to do uh aid haram on the head. So yes, learn how to do something halal, learn a skill that is halal, because once you learn a skill that is haram and then you start making money, a lot of money from it, you find it very hard. When you learn that it's haram, you find it very hard for you to leave. You won't leave it, because does it make sense to leave something that is paying you already 10K? Now you must go and work in maybe those food shops where they're paying you 3,500. Be like, oh well, let me stay here and do and add nails and do nail polish and all those things. So do learn a skill as a girl. I wish I learned skills while I was still young, while I still had time. 19, 18, I was just roaming around putting lipstick and just wasting my days, you know. So I would tell myself, do a skill, not just one, a few. So with the degree, if you're going to a college right now, finish that, and then do a few skills, whether it's baking, sewing. A lot of people are doing sewing these days, they're baking, there's always customers for everyone. So my dear, do something. If the degree is not helping, you have something to fall on. Even if you're doing three businesses at once, you don't know where Allah put your rizik. So come on, do something for yourself, girls.
Subhanallah, I love your honesty. I love that you are honest with yourself, that you told yourself that, you know what, if I go down this road, then there will be temptations, and I am human and I will fall into temptation. And this is a message the younger Muslims need to understand, that, you know, we are not wood, we are not metals, we are human beings with feelings, with emotions. And, you know, at that young age, you have your hormones going wild. And there will come a time where you will be tempted to, you know, go down the road that we all know. Um, and, you know, just being honest with yourself and being aware of the requirements of your deen, and being honest with yourself and saying, you know what, I am weak. I might start chatting to this young man, and, you know, I might say, oh, let me tap and see, you know, how things go. And then one things leads to another. So, you know, it's so beautiful that you actually mentioned the fact that we are weak as human beings, and we will you know, make mistakes. So it's best to stay away from temptation. It is best to stay away from those things that we know might tempt us, and we might fall into sins. And another thing you mentioned was, you know, to carry on with your studies, be it deen, be it academic, be it having some form of skill. You know, that reminded me a long time ago. I was still in high school, and my mom was giving advice to my, I call her my sister, but she's my big cousin. She just got married as a third wife, and Yes, the husband was, wealthy. He had money. He could afford the three wives. So my sister decided to, relax a bit. She left university, and the husband was basically her only source of income. And I remember my mom pulling her aside and telling her, you know what, as a woman, you should always be able to make your own money. You should always have money kept somewhere, because subhanallah, there's death. Your husband could die, or if if your husband does not die, then there's the fact that you might get divorced. And this is something that we've been noticing in today's time. The amount of divorces that we are experiencing, and also the amount of death of young men who are dying and leaving their wives with kids. And imagine you finding yourself in a situation where you have no skills, you have you have no sort of knowledge to help you carry yourself, or you find yourself in a situation where you are stuck in a marriage that is, just horrible and miserable, and you want to leave but you can't because you have children and you have no financial support whatsoever if you leave. So honestly, that advice is so important, to remind people, not just the young ones, to remind all women to, invest in themselves, invest in yourselves, go to school. If you can, go back to school. If you can't go back to school, if you can't study your alima course, then, subhanallah, learn a skill. There's so many things we can do. And yeah, I just found that point very, very, very important. Just to add on to just to add on to that, to all that you've said, I always tried to stay away from giving marriage advice, because I felt like, I'm still young in this field. I'll call it field. I'm still young and unexperienced in this field. And subhanallah, I feel like being married for so long now, I have learned a thing or two. And I think we are both qualified to finally give marriage advice. Sister Fatima, just tell me something. Like, if somebody had to come to you, maybe even if they're not young, just anybody who is looking to get married, what would you tell them? Like, what advice would you give them? What are the pros? What are the cons? Um, like what advice would you give them to at least prepare them for the journey, the lifelong journey, inshallah, that they are about to embark on? I feel like when I got married, subhanallah, I just jumped into it with my feet, not even with my head, with my feet. Like, I had no clue what I was doing. I had no clue what was expected of me. I was just a child who got married. And along the line, I just picked up, whatever I needed to learn, YouTube, whatever, whatever. And, it was difficult for me. So I always felt that if my mom was still alive, or if I had people to guide me and give me advice, it would be a bit smoother. It would have been a bit smoother at the beginning. So this is me asking you to give advice to my younger self, and to everybody else out there. Like, what are those, those tips, those warnings, those the work that you need to do within yourself before you actually say, okay, I am ready for this. I'm ready to take on a whole human being, a whole man. and be committed and be with this person for inshallah the rest of my life.
I would basically ask them, why do you want to get married? Because most of our young girls, they either want to get married to run away from home, something that is happening at home. They're just tired of the environment. And when you have siblings at home, you usually fight, especially if they're brothers. Brothers are annoying. And then others just saw a cute TikTok couple, and now they want to be that cute TikTok couple. And apart from the marriages having those sweet moments, there's a lot that goes on. So are you mentally ready for those things that will come? Because just because you saw a TikTok video of a couple being cute does not mean they don't have their differences. And are you ready to carry on the rights of a husband? Because a husband comes with a lot of rights. Yes, he also has to carry a lot of rights to fulfill for you, but we're talking about the woman, right? So in terms of fulfilling those rights of the husband Islamically, are you ready to do that? And I see a lot of young girls, like when they want to get married, they want to be housewives. So are you ready for the things that comes with being a housewife? Because you cannot say you want to be a housewife and just sit in the house and do nothing. You will have to clean the house, you will have to cook even when you're tired. When you get married, now you have to compromise. Even on the days that you are tired, you still have to cook, because it's not just you. You have a partner. So you can't just not cook because you are not hungry today. You can't just not clean the house because you don't feel like it. You have a partner who goes to work every day. Even though he doesn't feel like going to work, he still has to, because that is his responsibility. So are you willing to take the responsibilities that comes with the household? And when you have like disagreement, are you willing to sit down with your partner and communicate about it? And this is both sides, because most of the times we advise our women when they get married, oh, when you're having an argument, sit your husband down, speak to him. But then if the other person is not doing the listening or comprehending what you're saying, it's just going to be a disaster. Because most of us think just because you communicate with your partner, the problem is solved. The problem is not solved. They probably felt a certain way in their disagreement, and they also will express themselves. And this disagreement don't just go with sorry. You have to speak about it and see where your both went wrong and try your best to avoid it, or just reach an agreement, or what you can do to avoid doing things that angers the other person, both of you, and reach like a middle ground where you both will be happy. And also you must understand before you go into this marriage that this is a whole different environment for you. Marriage is new to you. Maybe it's not new to him. Maybe you getting married as a second wife or third wife or fourth wife. Maybe it's not a new environment for him. He knows what goes on in a marriage, but you are new into it. So you're definitely going to do something that will not be impressive to this person, because like, even though the man does not say it, I'm sure deep down he'll be like, my first wife, she doesn't do this, she doesn't do this, even if he doesn't say it. So he might correct you because his first wife or second wife doesn't do this and you doing it. So he doesn't like it like that. And so yeah, you also have to like now accommodate the eating time of that person. If you are a person who don't mind eating like dinner late, like let's say 9 o'clock, now this person is like, nah, me, I like my dinner at 6. So now you have to accommodate those. And you must know that when you get married, you have to run things through your husband before you decide to do those things. Such as if you want to go out, you have to ask for permission. And you know how young girls are so hot headed. They don't want to go around and ask people if I can go out, especially if you came from a household where you could just wear your scarf and go to the shop. Now you must ask your husband, can I go town? Can I go for this picnic that is happening? And if he says no, he said no. Are you ready for that? So if you are not like mentally grown both Islamically and just in general, Also, you need to learn your Islamic rights, because I notice men can take advantage. Yes, yes. They can take advantage if you don't know your deen, and you will be angry with Islam, thinking Islam, what they call it, misogynistic. Yeah, I've heard like a lot of people blaming Islam for things that people did say. And then when they ask someone else who knows about the deen a little bit, they're like, nah, your husband's lying to you. And some men are like manipulative with those things. For example, the one, uh I had a friend. I still have her as a friend. She is a rivet, and she got married to this man. And at the time, obviously, she didn't know Dean. She was just learning small, small, you know. And then on her tired days that she couldn't be intimate with him, on her tired days when she wouldn't be intimate with him, she'll be like, I'm tired. And he will tell her, the angels will punish you. Like, you know, like you're so manipulative to a point where a person now is basically just doing it because they have to. The husband has no mercy whatsoever. So also check who you're marrying. Are you marrying someone that cares when you are down? Someone that will actually see when you're not okay and actually say, you know what, sit down, you don't have to do this. Because a lot of us just run because we love a person, but love is not enough when you get married. Love matters before you get married, but after you get married, you now living with actions. You must see this person's actions. What they do and what you do is basically what's going to build the love. And if those actions are not good, then you will slowly fall out of love slowly. And if the actions are good, then you will grow more love for that person. So, are you ready for all those things? Asking for permission, managing a household, fulfilling his rightly duties as a young girl? Is your head there? Do you know your Islamic rights? Can you keep a household clean? Yeah. And especially if you marry a man in kurtas, are you ready to iron those kurtas?
Subhanallah, the kurta one is a struggle, even for me, bruh. I literally had to be like smart about it, and I would tell my husband whenever he would wear a green kurta, I'll be like, "Oh, you look so nice in a green kurta. You look so nice in a brown kurta." When he's wearing white, I'm not complimenting him. Now we packed with colorful kurtas here. But anyways, subhanallah, you mentioned everything that I would have mentioned myself. All the points were valid. I just noted down a few points that you mentioned that I just want to also add a little bit of my own input, like where you said that it is important for us to learn our rights. It is important for us to learn this deen, to learn our religion, especially regarding marriages. I've had a lot of conversations with Muslim women who I honestly feel like I need to mention this here, because it has come to my attention that not a lot of people are aware of this ruling. Subhanallah, we get married to Muslim men, and in the hope that they will be God fearing, that they will protect us and even help us learn more about our religion. But some of us get into marriages and we get abused, and we get manipulated, we get lied to, and it's just crazy. So the more I spoke to Muslim ladies, the more I realized that there's this thing that we are not aware of, and I feel like we need to know this. When it comes to sexual intercourses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that you can enter your woman from from whatever, any angle you want, whatever, but You are not allowed to enter your woman from the back. When I say the back, we all know what the back is. You are not, your husband is not allowed to enter from the back, my beloved sisters. Unfortunately, we've reached a point in Islam where even the learned Muslim brothers are, misleading the sisters basically. And when this thing is done to you, it's an automatic divorce. So when if your husband enters you from the back, before Allah, he has practically divorced you. And if you'll continue to live together, the intercourse that you're going to be having will be considered as zina, because before the eyes of Allah, you have been divorced. So please do not allow your husband to do that to you. Besides religion aspect of the religious aspect of it, it has a lot of physical aspects as well. I don't want to get too much into it, but I just felt like I needed to mention this because a lot of sisters don't know this, inshallah. And you also mentioned this, the fact that does not love is not enough to carry a marriage. And i I totally agree with this because actions speaks. So when you are looking for, your future husband, your future, I don't know, whatever, when you are looking into getting married, please look at the actions of your guy or your man or whatever, or whoever you are trying to marry. Us human beings have this thing of, we can put on a facade, we can act and put a mask and show you our best side, but that masks falls off very quickly. So if you are attentive, and if you pay attention, you will see that mask falling off. You will see those warning signs, those red flags. You will see that, no, there's something that's not adding up here. Because honestly, it's always better, it's always best to get married once and marry right, then you getting married and you just live a horrible, miserable life. So look into this thing. Don't jump into it because of your hormones or whatever. No, take your time, take your time. I know a lot of youngsters, a lot of people are desperate to get married. They want to get married. My sisters, there's no time limit to marriage. There's no ticking bomb. Take your time, take your time, and vet these men, like vet them, look into them properly, look at their behaviors. This thing that we have, oh, I will change him, he will change when we married. They don't change, they don't change. So whatever you see outside of marriage, it will multiply, it will quadruple or whatever. Like it gets worse. So my sisters, please, 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 we are begging you to put yourself first. Put yourself first. Protect yourself, because unfortunately nobody else is going to protect us. That was literally just the point that I wanted to just add some spices to. Sister Fatima has really just summed it all up so perfectly. And also, you know, I have so much things to say. I remember watching this video of these ladies who, are praying. dressed in wedding gowns, and they were crying their eyes out, like, like it was the end of the world, basically, because they were looking for marriage. And I laughed and I was like, yo, people are desperately looking for marriage like that because they've never been married. If you get married, you realize that, Haibo, it's not what they made us believe. They made us believe that marriage is the be all and the end all. We're not saying don't get married. We are saying that it's not like, it's not that special, guys. It's just like, um you like the it's not as grand as it was made to be. It's just something that becomes a part of your life, like something that you meet on your life's journey. It's not the destination. Marriage is not the destination. So if you have been struggling to maybe find someone or whatever, it's okay. Some of us were not even, like, marriage was not written for us. Some of us, we Allah said, I we're not, no marriage for you. Just like how some of us, Allah said, hey, you know what, you're not gonna get kids or whatever. Marriage is like risk. It was written for some, and some it wasn't written for. So also, I think this obsession with wanting to get married, this obsession with wanting to be part of the cool kids is making a lot of women make decisions and get into relationships that they later regret. And it's just, for me personally, it's heartbreaking when I hear all these stories, the sad stories. It's heartbreaking because honestly, when I think of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran about marriage, marriage is supposed to be, a place of mercy and a place of rahma. And with this being said, Sister Fatima, I just wanted to ask you, um, you know, yes, marriage is supposed to be a place of peace and a place of mercy. What do you tell a sister who finds herself in a situation where it's not that, it's not a peaceful place anymore, it's not a place of happiness anymore, there's no mercy anymore, she's just going through the most, like, basically what I'm trying to ask is, where do you draw the line? Where do you say, okay, this is the challenges of marriage? Because obviously marriage has a lot of challenges. We've all experienced challenges. I always tell my friends, I'm like, whoever tells you that their marriage has never had challenges are liars, because we've all had our own challenges. But where do you draw the line? Where do you say, okay, these are challenges, but these ones are. Now this is where you should start running. Like, how do you draw that line? How do you know when it's okay to stay and when you should just take your bags and say, I've done my best?
I agree so much, and like a lot of our men, they call themselves Muslim, but the things that they tell us females to do. I have one of this Facebook friend, and she posted something about how she had to let go of those two men that she was speaking to about marriage. She has to let go of them because they asked her for sim 2. Sim 2 is like when they ask her to do it from the back. That time they didn't even get married yet, and I was like, you know what, you must be grateful that they said this before you got married. Imagine you getting married and then next thing they are forcing themselves on you, and they're manipulating you because she's a revert, so she don't even know Islam to that extent. But she didn't refuse because of Islam. She refused because of the side effects that comes with it. The side effects that comes with it. Now you are no longer sitting comfortably because someone forced themselves on you. That is, yeah, that is like a good point. A lot of our Muslim brothers choose what to take and what not to take, especially when it comes to their bedroom matters. And as for telling a sister where to draw the line, I say draw the line when it start to affect your iman, like to have when it start having some effects on your iman, then draw the line there. You don't allow a person to come between you and your iman to a point where now you are turning your back against Allah, and you are blaming Allah for the things that you're going through in your marriage. So draw the line when it starts affecting your iman. I've heard a few ladies talking about how, like, when they were, what you call this, having those problems, and sometimes they will like just not make swala. They won't make swala. So you only make your swala when things between you and your husband are going well. And when it's not going well, you just abandon everything that is you're supposed to be doing it. You're not reading your Quran, you're not reading your swala. So that is affecting your swala now, because now you're like, why did Allah give me this man? Why did Allah give me this type of husband? He didn't give you that husband. You chose it for yourself. Yes, it is good to get married, but a lot of people that, like, they don't even do a background research. And not to say that when you do a background research, everything is gonna be rosy, but then when certain things come in the marriages that you, what you call this, you don't recognize, you will say, you know what, I did my best, I researched, I moved around, because we just see a man is looking for a wife, and then you're like, hey, I'm available, and then you go. You don't even like move around his community to ask people how this person is, because there's no way you're going to go around the community and every person from that community, not to take this marriage matter so likely for you to just go into the marriage like that. Make sure you do your research about this person, and know that some men, they messed up in one province. Like, they literally dated every person in that province. They broke their heart, and now they are known. Their reputation is all over, so they know they cannot get any woman around there, because when they get a woman, the woman does a few research, and then she finds out that, hey, that's one, he's not make sure. So they do tend to run to another province. So if you are marrying someone from a different province, make sure if you have a friend, whether you're marrying someone from Durban or Johannesburg, make sure you have a friend from that side that you can actually ask, and ask them to ask for you around, whether it's them going around where they stay, the community, and them just asking like, do you know this person, how's this person, and how does he handle anger in terms of women, how does he treat the women in his family, because one thing about the family, they will hide. I'm not the type of family who will hide from you that, hey, the person you are marrying, my brother is like this or my cousin is like this. But certain people, they cover it because they see how hard it has been for them to find a wife, so they will hide for them just so they can find a wife. So get a friend to go there and ask questions for you. At least you will know that, hey, you know what, I did my best. And it might be annoying for the friends to send them around, but then again, you know what's going to be annoying? You getting divorced after a few months because you found sides of this person that you cannot handle. So when um it start affecting your iman, and you start leaving the things that you are doing is that are compulsory for you to do, my sister, that is when you pack and go. And most people are afraid of leaving a marriage because they're afraid of how it will hurt. You are already being hurt while you are in the marriage, so you might as well be hurt outside of it and heal, because while you're there it's gonna hurt and you are not healing, you're not going anywhere. You see, your healing journey is not starting anytime soon. But when you leave, it hurts, but you are going towards a healing journey. So the fear of saying, I can't leave because of, it's gonna hurt, yo, it hurts. It will hurt. You love this person, you are willing to spend your whole life with this person, and then this is what they do to you. And this is not to say I'm not all in to encouraging young girls to get married. I'm just saying, be ready. Be ready, go into it ready. You know, when people say leave a room for disappointment, they don't mean your marriage is going to be like this, your marriage is going to be all bad. But that room for disappointment is what is going to help you still survive when things are not going your way or when things are just going the other way. So basically, leaving a room for disappointment is what is going to hold you together to not kill yourself when you just had an argument with your partner. When things, because when you get married, also there's family problems. You're not only going to have marriage problems, but also a few family problems. So that room for disappointment will help you survive and not kill yourself, because young girls tend to, when they get heartbroken, oh, they must drink 18 panados because they don't want to survive anymore. You see, so leave a room for disappointment, because a room for disappointment is what is going to hold you together to be able to survive. You can't be out here killing yourself because of a husband. My dear, you weren't born to survive based on how your husband makes you feel. Don't make your life revolve around a man. Your happiness is based around how your man treats you. That is another problem. Like, and it annoys me so much that I'm around you, and because you're having married problems now, we don't have that vibe anymore. You all moody with me, and it's not like you are just said you are moody, which I'm like, hey man, do you think the rest of us are not going through life? But then but then at the end of the day, what does others have to do with what I'm going through? Because they are also going through their own things. So you that room for disappointment also allows you to still be a person outside of your husband. It still allows you to be a friend to others, because I can't be here being kind to you and you're just so moody. You are not in the mood. If it's not your husband, your whole world is crumbling down, my dear. Come on. Mm-mm. And we were friends before all this, your husband and things like that. Of course your husband comes first when he's treating you good, but then you've made your whole life revolve around this person. Now you are no longer your own person. You're no longer your own person. You're gonna die if this person one day wakes up and say, you know what, I wanna take another wife. You know what? I no longer feel us. I want a divorce. My dear, you're gonna slaughter yourself. Which I feel like a lot of our young girls need. They need control, self-control. That there is a limit. There's a limit to giving love. There's a limit. You see how this person is treating you, and every day you are begging, you're going to your knees, you are crying your eyeballs out because of love. Relax. Turn to Allah. Read your Quran, read your Salah. Don't abandon it. You cry too much because you abandon Allah, you abandon the Salah, things that were supposed to be keeping you together. And then now he breaks your heart, and now you don't want to turn to Allah again, because you're like, he gave me this type of man, so why must I turn to him?
Subhanallah, I'm just thinking about how merciful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, because I remember when a few of my friends got divorced. And when you get divorced or you are in the process of getting divorced, your first fear as a woman, like we spoke about, being financially stable, being independent, even when you are married. So when you get divorced, your first fear as a woman, who probably has children, is that, what's going to happen to me and my kids in terms of finance. And some women find themselves begazelaring. They find themselves, taking all types of of dehumanizing behaviors, just because they feel like they have nowhere to go, just because they feel like they will not be, help outside of this man who is clearly killing you slowly. And I always say this, Allah is so merciful, and Allah knows us so well that He has, given us everything that we need. And I remember there's a part, there's an ayah in the Quran that speaks about it's actually ayahs that speaks about divorce. We need to understand that divorce is also an ibadah. When things are not working out, when things are not working out, you leave, my dear. Do not stay there and get abused, because again, Allah gave you to yourself as an amana. When things are not working out, my sister, pack your bags and leave. How many women have been murdered? How many women have been beaten till death, to death? You know, I know there's this fear of community will talk, people will talk, people will always talk. You know, when my mom passed away, people spoke and they say, you see, now you're gonna see her children. Aisha will fall pregnant out of wedlock. When Aisha got married, they still spoke. Oh, you see, she's gonna get divorced after 3 months. When I didn't get divorced, I I was struggling with infertility, still struggling with infertility. They still had something to say. Oh, she's not having children. So the community, the people will always have something to say. So remember that divorce is also an ibadah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, knew that some marriages will not work out. And He describes it so beautifully in the Quran, where He says that, you know, when things are not working out, He says how divorce should be done. He describes you know, like the he it's so detailed. And you know what stood out for me, honestly, and why I'm bringing this up right now, is where Allah says that, you know, and when those two couples finally um go their separate ways, then He will provide for both of them, the man and the woman, separately from His infinite source of provision. I feel like that should be one of those comforting, and that itself should remove that fear that we have that, you know, once I get divorced, you know, things will not go well for me as a woman. Allah has promised in the Quran that after the divorce, after you have gone your separate ways, He will provide for you from His infinite resources. He will provide for you from His infinite provisions. And I think we should just hold on to that. Uh, you know, if we are in the process of getting divorced, or if we are divorced, you know, I have friends who you know, got divorced, and subhanallah, the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened the his doors of barakah, they are doing just fine without a man, you know. And you know, I feel like we should have these conversations more. The divorced woman is pointed fingers at a lot in our community, and you know, sometimes we need to say, you know, you did so well. You know, not so many people have the strength to get up and choose themselves and their children and leave abusive relationships and leave relationships that are not no longer working for them. You know, for me, I have so much respect for a woman who decides to leave a man who does not value her, a woman who leaves a man who um, is a despicable human being. I will always praise them and I'll always make dua for them. You know, I was reading something so beautiful about marriage and about having children, that I felt, you know, it's such a beautiful reminder. It said that marriage and children are a part of this worldly life. You know, they are not an honor. They are not a mark of perfection. And you know, to call someone who to say that someone is deprived or unfortunate for not having uh children or for not being married is actually to be an ignorant person. Because if being unmarried or being without children was truly a sign of misfortune, then how could it be that Allah did not grant this to, the most honored women of creation, like our mother Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, who was not blessed with children, or Maryam, may Allah be pleased with her. She was the purest of the purest women. She was never married, yet even those who are not pious were given these things. People who roam around everywhere, they were given these things, but that didn't mean that they are special or whatever. So we do not measure our worth, or we should not measure our worth through a worldly lens. You know, this life is a test, and every person is tried. We are all tested in our own little ways, you know. So the true success does not lie in being married or lie in having children. True success lies in how close you are to Allah. And like Sister Fatima said, that when you see that this marriage is affecting my religion, it's affecting my deen, it's affecting the relationship that I have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you must know that, hey, this is the time to get going. So place your trust in Allah, turn your heart to Him fully, and never label anyone unfortunate, because whatever Allah does is always the best, even if it's not what you want, but whatever decision He has over your life is always the best for you. So other sisters, this is a message to the other sisters: be kind, be supportive towards sisters who are divorced. Be kind and supportive, and show them that we are here, they are not alone, and so on. I remember there was this thing that I read. It was basically a question that was being asked to ladies, that ladies who got married between the age of 19 to 25, are you still happy with the decision that you made, which is getting married, or do you have, like, any regrets? And subhanallah, the responses were different, and it made me realize that this marriage thing works for others, and it doesn't work for others, and that's okay. Being married is not a trophy. Being married, you don't get an award for being married. And not being married or getting divorced is not a failure. There's a saying where you can get married to your first husband and then get divorced, get married to the third husband, get divorced, and then you finally get married the third time, and then you become the most happiest person ever. And subhanallah, some of the responses were like, I got married at the age of 16, and now I'm single. I'm a single mother with two children at the age of 20. And another person said, I wish I never got married. Another one says that, I got married at the age of 23 years old, after knowing each other just for a while, and alhamdulillah, we've been married for 5 years, and they have two beautiful babies, and they are happily married. Another person said that, mine was when I was 15, and I knew this person for 10 years, and I want to leave the marriage, but I'm so afraid. Another one says, I was married when I was 21 years old. I've been married for 8 years now, and alhamdulillah, we are blessed with two beautiful daughters, and my marriage is good, alhamdulillah. And another one says that I got married at 19 years old, and now I'm 36 years old, and my marriage is 17 years and still working, alhamdulillah. And another sister says, like, I have a lot of regrets. I got married when I was 21, and now I'm 27-year-old single mother with a 3-year-old child, with a deadbeat father. um Another sister again says, she got married at 22. She turned 28 recently, and she has no regrets, basically. Another one says, I got married at 25 and got divorced after a year with no children. She's grateful for that. She then got married again at 31, and she's very happy and at peace in this her marriage. And this other lady left a little advice. She says, ladies, please take your time to learn about marriage and pray for it, because marriage truly has its blessings and its hardships. When both husband and wife respect each other and pray for their children, and have a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah, keeps them together, and so on. So, this made me realize that, yeah, it works for some, it doesn't work for some. It's okay. Some of us have kids, some of us don't. It's okay. This is just the dunya. We are all just passing through it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely right. When that marriage work for some people and it doesn't work for others, this has nothing to do with you being cursed. And yeah, as long as you don't start now feeling sorry for yourself. If you believe in love, then inshallah, after you heal properly, after you get yourself up again, and this time make sure you're financially stable, and make sure you research about the person properly. Make sure you ask the right questions, because the one thing we don't do is ask questions because we feel like, what if I discover something that I dislike, and I'm already in love with this person. So we just go with love, like I said, love is not everything. So they tend to just go with love, and then they just see colors in a marriage, and then within 3 months they cannot handle it, and they're walking out of it. And a while ago, a sister confessed about her marriage. After 2 months of being married, the husband was already doing things. He was already chatting to another woman on their walima day, which made me really upset for a young girl of 19 years. It made me so mad. I'm like, you go and marry young girls because you like they're pure, they're what, but you don't even have good intention for these young girls. You just want someone that you can control, someone that you can manipulate, because he turns around and says, I have a right. You have a right to marry another wife, not a right to commit zina. Nobody has a right to commit zina. So most men are looking for young girls just to sit on their head and do whatever they want to do with them. So my dear, if you believe in love, do it again, but this time make sure you're doing it with the right person. However, know that marriage is a risk, and whatever comes out of it, it's not the end of the world. The world will still go on, and you will still flourish. And yeah, this is a part of life. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect everyone from bad spouses. This is for both women and men. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, because our spouses can either turn us into monsters or make us a whole soft person, you know. So yeah, if you are around the environment, there's no way you can say I'm not going to be affected by this. Like how some people they go into the marriage being such a good person, but then they marry such a bad, wicked man, and now they're turning into that person slowly, slowly because of love. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you all and make dua for yourself. Marriage is also a constant prayer. You pray for it because, like you said, when you just got married, people used to wish you, tell you that you're going to get divorced within 3 months. Somehow, I feel like this is already a dua that they want for you, you know, because no matter how bad marriage is for you at home, you have no right to open your mouth and say to some innocent couple that you're going to get married, you're going to get divorced within 2 days, within a month. You don't know their future. And this is the thing with the African aunties. They think they know it all. They think they know it all. And because you are in a miserable environment at home, you tend to take that out on everyone. And yeah, even if we teaching young girls to be aware of certain things, to learn about marriages before they get into it, at the end of the day, it's their decision if they want to get married. You can't stop them from getting married. However, you can give them advice. You can give them like upfront advice, like, okay, this and this might happen, and when this happen, you can always turn to this or you can turn to this. Whether they take the advice or not, it's not up to you. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you all, and make sure you marry someone that you can turn to Allah first before they turn to anyone, because that is another thing that ruins marriages. When you marry a man or a woman who every time you have an argument, they're calling home, they're telling people at home. Now people at home also, especially if you have siblings that are like, hey Mina, I cannot take nonsense. People take are doing nonsense to my siblings now. They every time they're like, pack your bags, come, pack your bags, come. Even for arguments, misunderstanding that you can solve, they're telling you pack your bags and come, because when you involve siblings, it's a whole another level, because your siblings are not in love with your husband. You are the one who is in love with your husband or your wife. So they have no that thing of ish, let's be patient with you are the one who's patient with your husband or your wife. So when you involve your siblings, when you involve your mom, I feel like I would be the same if my child is calling me, telling me when they just had an argument on the phone. I'll be like, hi, bro, my child, you're suffering, come home. But now that I'm married, I feel like I would maybe be different, because now I know. When I just got married, I was hot tempered. I thought I was the ish, I was the shit, you know. So like every small argument, I'm packing my bags. I'm going. And that feeling of being bizared. And he's telling you, no, don't pack your bags. I love you. Don't leave. It makes us feel like, hey, he still want me. Beg me more. Beg me. You know? So yeah, eventually the person will stop begging you and let you pack your bags and go. So sometimes look at the argument that you had. Is it worthy? Is it worth it? Like, is it worth you packing your bags, or is it something that you can solve? Because some of our women shame. They don't have sense. And it's important to sit down with yourself and see what you could have done differently. And yeah, have a man that you can turn to Allah together, have some type of ibadah that you're doing together that will build the home.
Subhanallah, when you're young, your brain is still developing, and for real, like I've heard so many people, including myself, that they packed their bags and they were enjoying being begged not to leave or whatever. But eventually, they are also human. They will come a time where they'll be like, okay, they'll watch you pack and they'll be like, okay, bye. Sister Fatima, Jazakallah so much for this, for your time. Jazakallah for the advice. Jazakallah for, you know, being present. That it's just like I'm so so grateful that you accepted this invitation. I've personally learned, so many things, and I've also learned so many things about you as well as a person, because people just see us on Facebook, on social media, and they don't know the backstory and so on. So it's always nice to just have these conversations and get to know the person behind the social media, the person behind behind the all these things that we are enjoying on social media. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our efforts. I pray that these whatever we discussed today is of benefit to even one person. Will be grateful, and that whatever we've shared today becomes a means for us to enter Jannah, inshallah. I would have loved for us to continue, but time is not on our side. For those who want to hear more of these advices from Sister Fatima on her Facebook page, she is known as Fatima Sab, Fatima Sab. On YouTube, she has a YouTube channel where she is found as Fatima Sabiti, Sabite, and on Instagram she is Rahma Khawtar. It's UMMRAHMAHKAUTHAR. Sister Fatima, Jazakallah once more for your time. Jazakallah for being such a pleasant guest. I'm truly grateful. I hope we have more of this conversation in the future. If you are looking for a partner, if you are looking to get married, Sister Fatima is a matchmaker, like I said. So you go and reach out to her and ask her for if there's someone who's looking for someone, and she charges 100 rand. So yeah, go find your soulmate.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me and inviting me to this podcast. We learn a lot by speaking to others and listening to others, like what they are um like how they solve problems in marriages or just in general in life, because we go through a lot on our daily basis. So I appreciate for you for having me, because it's not something I was expecting. So to be seen to a point where you invite me to a podcast is something to be grateful for. And yes, you can find your match by me on Facebook at Fatima Sab, inshallah. If Allah has written it for you, for your partner to come from me to you, then yes, send me a DM on Facebook. And shukran for having me. Jazakumullahu khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shukran, listeners, for tuning in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
ومن يتق الله يجعل له مخرجا ومن يتق الله يجعل له مخرجا ويرزقه من حيث لا يحتسب ومن يتوكل على الله فهو حسبه إن الله بالغ أمره قد جعل الله لكل شيء قدرا.